What if I told you the secret to getting every single thing that you want in this next chapter of life can come to you way more easily if you will let go of control, stop overthinking, and release all of those practical strategies that got you where you are today, which we do love, but is not where you want to go in this next chapter of life. Sounds wild, right? This video is for you. Hi, I'm Ash Johns. I'm an ancestral healer and certified psychospiritual life coach. I work with women like you to identify, unearth, and heal unseen generational patterns that are stopping you from creating a life of freedom, love, abundance, joy, and ease, whatever those means to you, in the ways that you want in your lifetime. If you're already feeling my vibe and you're interested in what else I have to say, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Definitely hit the notifications ringer if you like that kind of thing. And just make a note to get more cozy with me here on my YouTube channel. It'll be a delight to have you in the space. Okay, I see two things all the time with the women that I work with, right? One of which is that they're telling me they want more ease and more support and serenity and fluidity in their lives. However, they only believe that in order to get those things, they have to do something for it to happen, right? It's solely on them. Another thing that I see is that women keep saying they want to relax, let their hair down, and let someone else take the wheel, or they can delegate to them, but they don't totally trust that that person or another being can actually step in to support them and things will turn out the way that they want. So as a result, you kind of sabotage yourself, right? If either one of those scenarios or something similar is resonating with you, then you are definitely here for this video. What I tell women all the time is that in order for you to have the ease, the pleasure, the joy, the fun, and truly the freedom that you want in your life, especially in this next chapter of life, you are going to have to undo, or not even undo, but switch your approach. You can't do the same things before to get something different, right? And previously you might have worked really hard, had a really, stable, structured, disciplined way, working up the corporate ladder, right? All those things got you to where you are, but those are not the things that are going to get you to where you want to be in this next chapter of life, which is again, more easeful, more fluid, more freedom, more joy, and more just ease on your body. This is the reason why I tell you that in order to have that, you have to release control, you have to stop overthinking, you have to stop doubting yourself and sabotaging yourself and lean into your ancestral wisdom, your ancestral power to create and call in exactly what you want. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is whenever I say release control and stop overthinking, I know that underneath that is this idea or this sense of not being able to trust yourself. I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking that, listen, Ash, I'm an accomplished woman. I'm high up in the corporate ladder. I have a successful business. People respect me. I'm well liked. I look like this, that, and the third. I don't have issues with self-doubt. I get it. You've done some amazing things to get you to where you are. But as I said earlier, what got you to where you are isn't going to get you to where you want to be. And that is way more open, radiant, fluid, trusting, and easeful. So when I see women showing up and they're talking to me about this is the reason why they're curious about this work, is because I know deep down inside there is a wound, both a personal wound and an ancestral or a lineage wound around trust, self-trust, and trusting the world. Now, I know you wouldn't say that you don't trust yourself, but I know that to be true before a couple things. One, you're either looking for the blueprint. You're looking for how someone else has done something, how they achieved something. You might be looking at your mentors, your colleagues, your friends, your girlfriends, celebrities, and being like, these are the steps that they took in order to get where they are. And so I need to do the same thing to get where I want to be, which is similar to them or a combination of two people, right? Creating what you want. So if you're looking for a blueprint or like the how to create ease in your life or pleasure in your life or whatever it is, I already know that there's some self-doubt, there is some lack of self-trust, and there's also some like distrust in the universe, in your path and who you truly are and why you're here to be. The second thing I know when there's a sign of you not being able to trust yourself is that you're ignoring your intuition, you're ignoring your gut, and maybe not on everything, but definitely on what you are wanting as it relates to creating more ease and more pleasure and more relaxation and just fluidity in your life. That's the language that I use, right? You might have another way of saying this, but I know that you're looking this up because you're like, listen, I'm snappy, I'm anxious, I'm upset, I feel like I have to think of all the things or no one else is gonna think it, then I know that you're ignoring your intuition. Your intuition always knows, your gut always knows, but then logic comes into play. And once you start to play with logic and analysis and all the different scenarios, you get further into playing all the different scenarios and not making a decision in alignment to your desire. So it starts to become this tangly web, essentially. And then finally, when you start going through that logical situation, you're looking at facts, you're looking at figures, you're looking at what is practical, right? As soon as you get into practical, I know that you have abandoned yourself. And I'm not going to say that we ignore all facts and figures, but I'm saying that there is a balance. And when you restore your ancestral wisdom, your ancestral power, and the innate energy that you walk with and you were birthed with, those things all work together in a balanced way. So first things first is we got to work on you restoring trust in yourself, trust in the universe, trust in your path, and trust in, honestly, humanity around you, which I know that's a big ask based on what this world looks like currently and what it has historically looked like, right? Especially for women. The next thing is when you start getting into this self-doubt, analysis situation that's locking up all of your energy, and it starts to create this vicious cycle. And I'm going to break down this cycle. This cycle looks like, oh, I want something, more ease around this money or this job or this relationship or to travel or whatever it is that you're desiring to take action in your life. And then you start going into strategy, as I discovered. And then this funny thing happens where fears start to come up, all the stuff that you think you can't do, which that's what brings in the control. Right? Control and overthinking and doubt, and you end up exhausting yourself from your head before you're ever even able to get excited about what you really want and take action on it based on your body and your spirit, right? So this creates a vicious cycle that starts to burn out women like you who are high achieving, well respected, absolutely gorgeous, already achieved amazing things. You're running yourself down over and over again, which is getting you further away from the lifestyle that you want and deserve and truly isn't aligned with your destiny. And now that leads you to stepping into this world of sabotage, right? Because nothing will get done or you won't get towards what you want if you aren't doing it, which I kind of talked about at the beginning of this video. So as you can see, there's more to the phrase of I don't trust myself, because sure, we trust ourselves, but do we really trust ourselves? That's kind of the inquiry that I'm leading you through here. That combination of how it shows up and overthinking, overplanning, over-strategizing, it gets you locked up energetically where you're actually not creating what you really want in your life. And I know this is actually not your fault. This is based on something so much bigger and so much deeper, and it's really an epidemic in our society, especially as women, which I'll talk about in a second. But before I get into it, I really want to just bring something up and ask you a question. Let's take a little pause here. I want to know if you have seen these patterns that I just described in your own life and in your own family, right? Have you noticed, go ahead and share in the comments, of women over-planning, over-strategizing, overthinking to the point that anxiety, overwhelm, frustration, anger, rage starts to come up, and that actually sabotages you creating what you want. Which of these things that I just shared resonates with you? Do you see yourself doing this pattern of overthinking, over-controlling, over-strategizing, and then you get nowhere? So you're probably wondering, great, Ash, we all do this. I think a lot. I think I'm very smart. Actually, I think I'm very accomplished. And I don't think that's a bad thing, which I hear you. I'm not saying it's totally bad, but I'm saying it's not fully serving you too. Let's go into what we are here for, which is what is the solution? What is the healing? What's the forward movement? Because I want you and every single amazing woman to have the ease and the radiance and the pleasure and the fun and the joy and the freedom that you and we all deserve. And I mean that not on some lofty, big-ass idea. I truly actually mean that. So the way to get out of this control pattern and this overthinking pattern that's actually sabotaging the ease that you really want and cutting you off from the support and the resources that you need at this stage and the next stage of life, we need to let go fully, and step into your ancestral wisdom and power. And this is not just a skip over and jump into ancestral wisdom and power. There's a lot of healing that happens in that process. And that I talk about that in my mini ebook. Lay of the Land, which you can download for free. When you start to lean into your ancestral wisdom and power and you do ancestral healing work in your life and in your lineage, you realize that all of the things that are going on is more than just you. Like, it has to do with many women in your lineage, maternal lineage and your father's lineage, whether you know them or not, regardless your relationship, beyond your mother, beyond your grandmother. Women had to be in control, had to overthink to protect themselves. And now we've developed this characteristics and this quality. It's actually overdeveloped. So when you can let go of yourself and not center yourself as the problem and also not the only solution, that you can actually, it's bigger than you, and you can start to heal this on a bigger perspective so you can get exactly what you want. You actually step into this energy of like being able to co-create with the universe. Like, I'm going to take action on this and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to set an intention around this and I'm going to trust my gut as I move forward. Or I'm only going to take action when I'm very inspired, instead of doing all the things down the list and then wondering why it's not happening the way that I want it to happen, right? This comes to weight, health, relationship, money, travel, hobbies, like everything. I know we were taught to go to school, have a plan, control this, do this, plan this, but that's not exactly serving you now where you are, right? So what I'm inviting you into is reclaiming ancestral wisdom and power inside of you through your lineage. And you do that by healing ancestral trauma that makes you feel like you cannot trust. It makes you feel like you have to be in control. And when you feel that way, and that's what every woman in your lineage has done, that is the repeating pattern that creates the generational pattern that's stopping you from living the way that you want to live, the things that you want to have. So finally, why does this all matter, right? Like, you could go and do a coach, you could do a step-by-step program to lose weight or do this or get a man or whatever it is, right? Go on vacation. But the reason why this is important is because for high achieving women such as yourself and myself, right, who feel depleted, less than radiant, and alone, we can stop this pattern. It is not just your life. This is not just a learned behavior. If you're spending so much money running from coach to coach or retreat to retreat, or with your therapist or whatever else that you're doing all these self-investments, when the issue of control and trust is actually much bigger than you, right? It's a cultural thing. It's an ancestral thing. It's a lineage thing. It's a family thing. And it's embodied and showing itself, manifesting itself through your life, your thoughts, and your behaviors and your relationships. So really, when you start to do the deeper ancestral healing work around trust and control, everything else starts to shift in your life. So if I've given you some insight and some thought into this video about how you're living your life, how things are serving you and not serving you, I want you to go ahead and download my mini ebook. It's only a few pages long, called Lay of the Land. It's an introduction to ancestral healing and breaking generational patterns. It will show you 8 different approaches into ancestral healing so you can get to the core wound, the core root issue of your lack of trust and need to control everything. And I do this lovingly because I am very smart. I love my degrees. I love my structure and my strategy. And I like to let go and trust. After you read through the ebook, definitely share which of these paths resonate with you. You can tag me on Instagram at @AshInspires or reach out on my website. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that this video served you. I will be back on a Wednesday with another one. And in the meantime, I hope you and your people are very well. I honor your path and life, and may you find all of the freedom, all of the wealth, all of the love, and all of the abundance for yourself and for your people.